Welcome to LashCast Podcast. Today in this episode, we have a wonderful guest. Many of you guys have talked about, what do we do for passive income?
Yeah.
How can we make money, not doing lashes all the time? And our guest today is Ari Tsedenbal of Burte Beauty, and she is a lash artist.
Burte Beauty Podcast.
Sorry, Burte Beauty Podcast. Thank you. And she is a lash artist just like you, who has actually managed to crack the code, I think, in a way that she is providing a passive income for her future. And here she is. Welcome to the show, Ari.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we are super excited to have you. We were very fortunate to have you interview us for your podcast. We were very excited about your podcast because I think you have some really great things to add to our industry. And I got to know you. I was really, really impressed with your knowledge and your desire to make money passively, but through investing. We hear people about making money all the time. Like, oh, let's make money. And most of the ways they want to do is let's start another training. Let's start another product line. Let's start 18 salons. They have all these other great ideas, which can make money, but none of them are passive, by the way. They're all very active. You're going to have to work your butt off to make money. But there is a way that you can, with a little bit of work, but not a ton, you can put money into investments, and over time you can see it grow. And you shared a little bit about your story. I was so impressed by that.
He was so captured by it. He's like, "Oh my gosh, we gotta have this gal Ari on because she's really phenomenal."
Yeah. So I was super excited. So that all said, Ari, I would love for you to first share people a little bit about your background. Maybe why you got into lashing and all that, and then we'll get into all the investing stuff down the road.
Sure. I got into lashing honestly as an accident. I never in my life planned to become a lash artist. My dream was to become a fashion designer, and that's what I went to school for. Just like Tessity, actually, when I interviewed her, I was very shocked that we have a very similar story, how we got into the industry. So after I finished my school I moved to New York with no job. I didn't know anybody. I just wanted to challenge myself, and live in a bigger city and just, become, like a new person, I guess.
Reinvent yourself.
I moved. Yeah. And I previously studied in Seattle, and when I was there, I felt like I didn't really belong in the city. It was always raining, and I love sunshine. And I mean, don't get me wrong, New York rains in the winter too, but it's not as 9 months of straight raining. So I was happy to leave. When I come here, not gonna lie, it was very, very hard. I was looking for a job in fashion. I had really little money. I think at that time, me and my boyfriend, we had combined saving of $5,000, and it literally ran out in 2 months. We were trying our best to make it work, but it was so nothing. We were almost close to going homeless if we didn't have a job.
Oh, baby.
Right? And so I was I need to figure it out somehow. And my very first job that hired me was in an eyelash salon in Midtown Manhattan.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's how I got into lashes. I've been lashing since 2017 July, and I have not stopped a day. Even during COVID, I was still lashing. So
underground, you were lashing underground in New York, because I know New York was like California. It was really hard. There wasn't a lot of extra or flexibility for beauty professionals, right?
No.
Yeah. So that's how I got into the industry. Yeah, in short. Mm-hmm.
All right. Wow. So you've been in the beauty industry now it's 25. So basically almost 8 years at this point.
Yeah, 7.5 years to be precise.
Wow,
yeah.
Well, good for you. So you've been around, you've seen a lot, you've seen what's going on. Now, for you, as a salon owner, I just thought it'd be great for people because I know you have, 2 salons, is it? I forget how many.
No, I do have one lash salon,
Okay.
and I'm starting a second business, but this is with other partners. I have 3 partners, and that one is a bubble tea business, so it's completely different from what I'm doing.
Yeah, Tess would love you.
I love bubble tea.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I started out hating it because I thought it was really gross. But we lived in Arcadia, which is lovingly called Arcasia. There is just so many Asian businesses and Asian tastes, and so bubble tea was everywhere, and our kids loved it, and so I just became I turned. I went to the other side, and now I love bubble
There's
tea.
long lines here, and just down the street where we are in Lake, there's this one bubble tea place.
Boba. It's boba.
I say boba.
And
Boba.
they're
It's
out
down
the
the
line.
street, and there's out the line. Literally,
Out the
there's a line
door.
all the time.
Anyway, so that's super cool.
Yeah, that's great. So, yeah, so you're doing that's right. I knew you had another business. I was sorry, I remember it was their salon, but you're right, it's a boba tea. So that's very cool. So anyhow, that all said, you do have a salon, and how many staff do you have?
I have 6 staff.
Great. So yeah, so that's actually in the lash world, that's pretty big.
That
Because
is
I
big.
mean, when you look at salons out there, at least most people I know they have 1, 2, 3 staff. So the fact that you have 6, that's impressive. So good job. And also in the crazy place of New York, which is not cheap to live or work or anything like that. So cool. Well, anyhow, one of the things like we said earlier that really got our attention was your interest in investing. And so I wanted to find out, really to get started, what was it that got you to think, okay, I want to go into investing. I want to take my money and start putting it into, maybe we say why, and then after we get why you got into it, you explain what is investing, because some people might have different ideas of what investing is.
So my boyfriend studies finance, financial math. So he has told me for years and years I should start investing. But I was, when I worked my first 2 years of eyelashing, I have made minimum wage. I was working for a salon, so I didn't have very substantial income. So for me, my thing was like, oh, I don't have enough money to invest. So I never invested until 2020 of March, which is the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And that was, I would say, I was extremely, extremely unfortunate, unfortunate, because that time stock market was really, really low, and I got on a very good time, and that really inspired me to do it. And when you see your money is just increasing so much, and you just look at this and then you think why didn't I do it sooner?
Yeah.
Why didn't I listen to him? Even my clients, because New York is really big on finance, or most clients are either in finance, law. We have all this professional, beautiful ladies that are telling me you gotta get into it. I was so stubborn and not confident, and I didn't do it. So that's my biggest mistake. And even if any one of you are listening, I really want you to no, don't wait. Even if you can do $100 a week, set it auto thing, and then just start it. Because once you start it and then you see it's increasing, you will understand why you should not be not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about how there is a paradigm shift with the way that you think. Because a lot of lash artists, myself included, think, we see the signs of outward wealth. Things like designer handbags and designer makeup and fast cars and beautiful things. And people think, oh, that means if you have a Rolex that you're wealthy. And a lot of people are going out for these things. I mean, when we had a salon, most of the gals that worked there had BMWs or Mercedes, and they leased them. And I was thinking, wow, that's crazy. I didn't, realize.
Well, because they make, we know how much they make. They make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, which is, that's a lot. That's not a lot to be able to be paying a lease on top of that, right? That's I don't know, it just seemed like we were shocked that, they were spending money on things like that.
And then, but then I know that other gals think, oh, if she's got a handbag, if she's got a Louis or a Hermes bag, then she must have made it, right? But when you're investing, you have a different mindset than that. So can you talk about how you have chosen not to partake in those things?
So for me, like, I do want to say, like, I don't come from a very wealthy family, right? One thing. And so I think for a very long time, I always had to budget. Even when I was in college, I was an avid, like, saver, right? Like, I would literally have folders where I would have, because, like, at that time, like, every dollar counts, because when you're in college, like, even like $100 is a lot of money,
It's a lot of
So
money.
I think the key to having that mindset is number one, you need to be frugal, and you need to like delay gratification and not compete with other people, because wealth is not about showing off. Wealth is about having time for yourself, having time for your family or your friends, it's about like having peace. It's not about you wearing like expensive things and showing off on like social media. Don't get me wrong. If you really can earn and then do it without feeling guilty or being in debt, go ahead. That's by all means. But if that is not you, like you mentioned, if you are making 70K a year and then you're like leasing like, I don't know, $80,000 car. I don't know how much car costs because I'm in New York and I'm a metro girl. So my car like cost to commute to work is like $5-6 a day, so I don't have really big car lease, or I don't even know how to drive. So I don't have that expense. But if you are in other state, I get it, you need to have a car. But I really don't recommend someone in their like early 20s or teenage or even early 30s, like don't get into a really expensive like lease payments. Like even now, like if you leave, let's say like East Coast or West Coast, right? Like mortgage costs almost double if you were renting. So like in that sense, sometimes it wouldn't even make sense to purchase a home. So like you really need to do the math. Just because, like people also have this illusion like, oh, I need to become a homeowner to really make that mark of I made it, like I am rich, or like I'm a middle class or upper class, whatever that is, right? But sometimes like when you do the math, it really doesn't make sense. Like let's say I try to buy a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment in Manhattan. It will cost me, I don't know, at least $1 million or more. And to me, that makes absolutely no sense. Like we have a really high HOA fee, really high taxes, and New York, like apartment prices are like basically like it's at its highest. Even let's say I sell it like 30 years later, I really don't think it will be even more expensive. If it was a city that's like cheaper and up and coming, maybe like it would make sense to sell it like a couple of years later, like 10 years later or something. But I'm in a market that's makes no sense to buy. So people really need to look at things from the math perspective rather than trying to prove or get validated by their peers or friends, all of that combined, even their parents, because I know some parents really push their kids to be a certain way, but sometimes, economy doesn't really allow us anymore. So we're living in a different time and we need to realize that.
Yeah, I think what I love what you said there is you have to consider the market you're in. And I think a lot of people, you do feel like I have to own a house. I have to own a house. And I've read some stuff recently where they're saying right now, the stock market's beating the housing market. Like you're going to make more money over 10 years in the stock market, depending on the market again you're in, because the stock market, it has the longevity of showing. And we do have, a lot of people still think we're in a bubble with the housing market, that at some point the housing market is going to collapse. Hopefully not like 2008, but it will go down or at least calm down. And in certain markets it won't, because if you're in a prime market where it's expanding and business is growing, like a lot of the Texas areas are doing really well. But that said, we had Mish on from Mish Aesthetics, and she talked about buying houses and know where she's buying. She's buying them in Ohio. Where homes are super affordable right now. It's like she's like, oh yeah, a home's like $250,000, 50,000, or I forget what she said, but it's not expensive compared to like New York or California. And so for her and her husband, it makes sense. So they're building a portfolio of homes right now in the region that I think is not depressed, but it's definitely has a future, but the prices are not insane. Like they were very careful about where they went and picked that. And so that makes sense. But otherwise, like right now buying California would, I think, especially with interest rates where they are, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But
it doesn't make sense.
That all said, I know you were.
Well, yeah. When we talked before,
can I just add one more thing?
Yeah.
Sorry. So another thing I really want people to think about before making any purchase is think about if it's a liability or not. Like you mentioned it, if it's a house that you're gonna live in it, it's not really an investment. Yeah. It's a liability. Right? Because it's not generating you any money. It's basically costing you money to keep it.
Yeah.
But if you buy that house and then rent it and actually make a profit, then that is an investment. It goes same for like expensive handbags or expensive dinners, even drinks, right? Everything we are spending money, think about it. Does it make you more money or does it cost you more time to make that? Yeah. Then when you know that, you will make better decisions because to be precisely honest, like nobody cares about you. Like today you're thinking like you are like making a nice like story or like, you know, whatever you're doing, people are watching. But what you're really doing is like you're losing time from your own working time, right? Yeah. So a lot of people, they're most of the time they're focused on themselves, not necessarily to you. So if you're trying to compete with people with what you got, you can never win. There's always going to be people who will make more money than you, who have more money than you. So other people should never be your competition. The competition should be you from your yesterday to today. Then you make a better financial decision. That's what I would say.
I love that, especially the idea about liabilities. And often,
do you want to talk about? Some people might not know what a liability
Liability is just things that cost you money. Like you're losing money with liability. You're not making money. You're losing money. And I think a lot of people think they're investing in something like, well, I'm investing in myself. Yeah, you are, but you're still losing money doing that.
Like sometimes. A vacation.
Like a vacation.
A vacation is costing you money.
Dinner or a nice night out in the town, whatever it is that you're doing. You're like, well, I'm doing self-love or self-care. I'm like, that's fine.
But it's not generating you wealth.
Yeah.
It's not an engine that generates
Well,
wealth.
there's things like we've done over the last few years where we've gone to events and we've gone to things with Lash events and trade shows. And while there were expenses from that, we've gotten deals, we've networked, we've found people to work with, we've found partnerships, we found ways to generate revenue off of that. Or we found students, or we got people to buy tickets to LashCon. So for us, going to a lot of these events made sense while it cost us money. In fact, I often tell Tess like, wow, this is costing us $2,000 or whatever. I'm like, but good news, we sold like, 6-7 tickets or something like that, which made $7,000. So while that's not the big way for us to make money, it is a way for us to spread the word and help people get to know who we are and find out what we're selling and buy stuff from us. So that's part of the reason why we go out there. Plus, we just like people, and it's fun to go out and be connected to our community. But I think it's a great way to look at as far as investing versus liabilities. Another thing, I mean, a lot of people don't realize with homes, I've seen some stuff where they show about homes, like between taxes, home repairs, insurance, if you have HOA, before you know it, after 30 years, your return may only be like 3-4%, which is really not a great return when you compare that to the stock market or other means. So it can be great. Like people who lived in the Silicon Valley when I was growing up, I mean, people bought homes back in the 70s for like $30,000 and sold them for like, $800,000.
Yeah, like it was your parents bought a home in Tenita Way. It was for $30,000.
And now that home sells for like almost $2 million.
Yeah.
So it's, there are, in New York, the same way. Like if you bought in New York a long time ago, you're doing quite well right now if you're selling your condo, your apartment, whatever. So it's all relative. There's no defined way, but I think it's a great way for people to at least now rethink about it. It's like, is this costing me money or is this making me money? If it's costing you money, you need to justify it, right? You need to say, well, I'm doing this one time just for my vacation or whatever. But if it's like, if you're thinking you're making money off of it and you're not, I think we play games, right? I mean, for you, do you see people do that? I do. I see people try to justify their spending and it's like, well, you're just kind of lying to yourself.
Hmm.
Do you ever see that when you talk to people about investing, or is it just like people are like,
I mean, so personally, okay, I am frugal, don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
I do believe in treating yourself because if you're always working, and yes, you're accumulating money and wealth, but if you're not also taking care of yourself, I personally think that's a shame because what is the point of also making money, right? So I wouldn't say a vacation is like a waste because we do need to rest, don't get me wrong. In fact, even with all the chaos that's going on in my life right now, I just took a vacation because I was like, I need to get out of here, right?
yeah,
So I can't. I think one thing I would like to mention is a lot of people focus on like how can I improve how much I make. Um, but they never think about how much they can save or invest, right? To like, let's say same people making 75K a year, depending on how they're investing or spending their money in 10 years, they will be at a very different place. So all let's start with is a good system. So for me, I don't have a knowledge of giving any investing advice. I am not an advisor. But what I can tell you is I have a very good system that has been serving me well to where I am. I don't have to think about what stock to buy because I have advisor who can help me with it. My job is simply to bring in the cash and he will do everything for me.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to give him like a percentage of my stock portfolio. However, it works everyone. I don't have to be afraid of checking my account all the time. I don't have to see what's going on there. Like I literally deposit my money automatically from my account to the investment account and it just does its job. It's like a wonder. So what I'm here today is I don't want to tell you, okay, don't buy your iced coffee. Like if coffee makes you happy in the morning, go for it. That's all yours, okay? I don't like when people are like so extreme. I think it like takes the joy out of your life. You should be happy even when you are working with less salary. That's okay. But what I'm trying to say is don't overspend the things that doesn't make sense. Like if you are stressed and then you're shopping and buying clothes that you have a whole closet full of clothes, but you're buying again because you're stressed, that's a not good spending.
Yeah.
But like buying an iced coffee, it's not going to break your bank. I promise you.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'd love for people to know, because I know a lot of beauty professionals are thinking, well, I can't do this because I don't make enough money. So I want to invest. I'm scared to invest. I don't know what's out there. I would like just to encourage people to tell people, you told me what you started with 5 years ago, back in 2020, and where you are now. I know this might sound like bragging, but
no, this is super, super encouraging because you've done it and like it's doable. It means if you can do it, like other people can. So can you share with that?
Yeah, of course. So very simple. Okay, what I really do is so when I first started in 2020, I had $20,000 saved from my 2 years of working in the salon. So I did not invest all of it. I invested about $11,000 in 2020, and literally within like 10 months period, I didn't add any money during that time. Okay, 11,000 become I think 23K.
Wow.
Just in a few months.
Double.
And I have never seen that in my life because, in my country, we don't really invest. And I'm sure many of the listeners you have, their parents probably never invested, right? If you're like someone like me, where your parents have never invested or you don't come from money, this idea is definitely scary, and once you see it with your eyes, it's really mind-blowing. That's why I say start it today even with $100. Okay, number one. Number two, so from 2021, literally January 1st, I moved into a little studio in Manhattan, 42 Broadway. It's a very tall building of just office people, and I rented like a little room for like $700-800. I don't remember the rent anymore. It was so cheap. I started there, during COVID, I learned also Japanese gel nail art. So I added another service because I wasn't good at marketing. So I was like, maybe I do 2 services and then I can, use the one client to 2 services to make more money.
Yeah.
And it was doing so well because after COVID, people were so like desperate to find their new place. I had clients, no problem. So I hired somebody just to do the nail and I focused solely on lashes. And little by little, 2021, I started training. I moved into bigger space. And then, I just like tried to expand my little places to bigger. To total, to be in our current salon right now, I have moved about 6 times.
Oh my gosh.
So it took me a lot of time. I did not make a big jump into like moving to a really expensive salon. That was not in my case because remember, I'm a very frugal person. Unless it makes sense, I'm not going to spend my money.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So when I was expanding, okay, number one strategy I use is I pay myself before I pay everyone. Mm-hmm. Monday morning sharp. Yeah. As soon as all my money comes in from my business account, I pay to my personal account, and that from that personal account I also pay automatic to my investing account. It's just auto. I don't even touch it. Yeah. I can't touch it. And really like I may sound like bragging, but it's true. There have been a lot of times where I really needed cash and really needed money for my business to like pay taxes, etc. I never once pulled out money from my account. I have sold stocks that were not performing well because my advisor and I were like, this is not going well. We need to cut the loss, move on, buy a different thing. Yeah. We have done that, but I never sold a stock and then made it into a cash to solve my everyday problem. Yeah. So number one thing is you need to pay yourself first. And if you don't, you pay everyone else before that. You're always going to be the person who's living paycheck to paycheck. And this isn't reality for people who even make like $200K a year. Mm-hmm. Because New York City, again, it's very expensive. You meet people who make really good money, but you'll be surprised that they don't have much money. Mm-hmm. So it's not really about how much you're making. What it is how much you're saving and investing for yourself later in case your business goes bankrupt, in case like you lose your job or whatever happens. You must be able to take care of yourself. Let's say you get divorced. It's like very real thing. Like today, almost 50-60% of people are going to be divorced, right? So this is not something like out of the blue. It's just expected. Like if you think, let's say you're taking a plane and then 50% chance you're gonna die. Yeah. Would you take the plane, right? Like it's a hard question to answer, but everyone is getting married and we are like not preparing for it financially. Like if you're a woman especially and you become a mother or and then you completely lose your like money, just rely on your husband. What happens if you happen to divorce? You need to think about these things today before everything goes south, Yeah.
No, by the way, divorce is one of the biggest financial killers in the world. Like I've seen studies where they talk about people go through divorce and they lose everything. Like between lawyers are the only ones who win.
The lawyers win. Yeah. They win. They're the ones that win.
Yeah. So I think even for divorce, if your listeners are younger as well, I'm not married yet, but I would say every one of you to have prenup, because even when you think about it, when we, let's say, rent an apartment, we sign a contract. It's just for a year or maybe 2 years, I don't know, but we sign a contract of what are the right things to do, how I should be expected, what the landlord should get done, right? So why aren't we having that expectations also on marriage? Like you're getting married to somebody. What are the guidelines that the two of you are going to live by? What will be the ultimate reason for the divorce? If two people are completely aware of the situation, then maybe there will be less casualties. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So I would say this is also one part of a really smart financial decision. A lot of people don't make the right decision. They are just getting married thinking this is the last one, but probably not. Especially in my generation, like if you're a millennial or Gen Z people, right? Like we are having a really hard time with marriage. We're already having really low marriage. So like if you're getting into it, we gotta be careful. Okay. That'd be my one advice as well. I think I'm going a little off topic.
No, it's okay.
It's not off topic.
It's good because a lot of people are thinking about this stuff, and your money and finances and all that stuff is all connected. So it makes sense to talk about that.
Yeah. Another thing I would also say is, aside from having that system, don't be afraid to invest into your education. So just because I'm a lash artist or I have a business doesn't mean I don't expand my knowledge into other parts of, world.
Yeah.
So for example, like one app I would really recommend is Headway. It's a book summary app, and you can listen to it or you can read it. Either way, you can listen like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, any book. There is no limit. If you are somebody like who uses Audible, because we do lashing, we listen a lot of content, right? Audible sometimes for me tends to be too long and I lose interest when it's like 6-hour book.
Yeah.
So if that's someone like you, get the Headway app, 20 minutes a day. Always invest in your education. There you can do all this investing stuff. Like it's not always like a crappy content. That's what I'm trying to say. So invest in your education. That's number one. Number two, also improve your social circle. Cut off friends that does not serve you or that are jealous, right? Like eventually if you want to level up your life and be financially stable and stuff, you need to be surrounded by the right people. If your friends are always complaining, hating their jobs, those are not the people you should be around because it's gonna bring you down. And there's a really big study on how it can affect you, and I don't probably have to tell it because you guys probably see it everywhere.
Yeah.
But need to make sure you are surrounded by positive people who are excelling in their lives, because that will affect your finances as well.
Yeah. No.
And number 3 is I would say don't date broke men. Because,
funny.
most lash artists are females, I'm assuming, probably 95%,
at
if
least
not
95, not more, yeah.
So if you date the wrong person or if you marry the wrong person, again, it will really bring you down. So make sure you are doing your due diligence.
Yeah.
Know your worth. And if you think you are not there exactly who you want to be, then work hard. Really, no need to rush. I think my country is, for example, the biggest problem in my country is we get married too early, and there's so many single mothers in my country, and it really, really hurts to see girls my age having 2-3 kids and no husband. They have to become the mom and dad and become the provider. It's a lot on them, and they are so stressed, they're tired. It's not a good life to be. So I would say no need to rush it, but don't also wait for the perfect gentleman, right? Because we're not perfect either. We of course have to be willing to compromise, but also don't be picking a man out of desperation who doesn't serve the life you want to live. So that's what I would say. That's also really important financial decision. I don't think people think about it, but I personally think it is.
Yeah.
I just wanted to dovetail on what you said there. Sometimes women, sisters, your friends will lead with the heart. They will lead with the emotion. The man is exciting. He's handsome. He's,
it's funny.
He lights them up inside, and so they fall in love with them. That song by Britney Spears, "Mama, I'm in love with the criminal." I can't remember the name of the song, but I'm in love with the criminal, basically. And it's well, you chose that, right? I mean, I know when you're young, you are overtaken by emotion, but you can be in charge of who you give your heart to. And when you finally decide to get married, you might want to consider that it's not the man that makes, I mean, if you look at your dating life and you look at your love life and it is strewn with bad choices, one of the things to recognize is, oh, I'm turned on by the bad boy. I'm turned on by people that are not good for me. So that means that you cannot use your emotions to choose the man that you want. You choose the man that you want. You know who he is, what kind of character he has, and you know that he's not going to necessarily light you up. But you choose that man and the feelings will follow. Because if you don't, then you end up with lots of, like the other women in your culture,
By the way, she's from Mongolia, just so people know.
Yeah.
You keep saying country, like what country are we talking about? It's Mongolia. But anyhow, back to
So anyway, the point is, to my sisters, to my my lash ladies, choose with your head and know that sometimes the feelings aren't going to be there, but they will follow.
I want to add into that because we've almost this year, 25 will be 32 years for us. So we've been married a long time. And when we first got married, we were getting the marriage advice here, but Tuss would say we went through a really hard time. And a lot of it was because of our finances. We did not plan. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be a writer. But not winning stuff. And so I made some bad choices career-wise that didn't support and take care of my wife and take care of our family. And then after about 10 years in our marriage, she was kind of like, I didn't sign up for this. This wasn't what I wanted. I thought you were going to do something big, and I thought you were going to be successful, and now here we are barely surviving. And it was really, really hard, and we had to really change a lot in our life. I changed a lot, and thank God here we are today, still married. But really, at the core of it was bad choices, and Tuss, at least at the early stages, I think making a bad choice in guys. Cause,
hold on a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I was one of those people that had like a past, and the people that I was attracted to were not good for me. So I made a conscious decision, to when I married, that it was going to be a person that met all the criteria for me. But unfortunately, at the time, there was no chemistry.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm just going to choose this. I'm going, I'm going to trust that the feelings are going to follow and they did.
Yeah.
They did follow. And I think that choice is good because we've been married 32 years and we've been proven that, you fight for this marriage.
Yeah.
And I know the other one, the other choices that I would have made, would not have worked. I dodged a bullet.
Yeah. But that said, we had to change a lot in our life to prove or change what our income, change how we spend and all that stuff to get where we are. And now we're in a much healthier place. But money did at one point become a big issue for us, and it was a problem because we had kind of gone down the wrong path. And that's why I was so excited, because you're young, and I know Mish, I got to talk to her, and she's really young, and I see these young people who are making great choices,
good choices.
And investing in their future, because, I mean, if things keep going for you the way they are, I mean, you could even consider probably retiring in your 40s at some point. Like, you don't have to think about working 50 years to your 80, 90 just to survive paycheck to paycheck. If you plan now and invest and cut and all that, you can actually, in your latter years, at least choose to work less, right? You won't have to be, and you can choose a little more freedom. One of the things I thought was, if you could share this real quick, you said you doubled your money in 1 year. How much has that money grown? You've been investing every year. Where are you at now? Because I remember you telling me, and I was blown away.
Yeah. I don't know if I should be broadcasting my
you don't have to.
now.
Just say, how about above this number? Above this number, are you above 100? Are you above 200,000? I just wanted to let people know in 5 years how far you can go. It's like I think most people think, well, 5 years I'll save $15,000. That's all they think they can do. Like, if I save it, it'll be another 15. So who cares? It's not worth it. It's not. I can't really save enough. You, in 5 years, in less than 5 years, have more than doubled your money. You've done some crazy stuff.
Yeah. So mine is over now 300K.
Yeah. So that's. I want people to know that,
again,
because that shows in 5 years, most people don't even have $30,000 in their savings account, let alone 300K in investments. But in 5 years, guys, if you're 27 and you start changing the way you live today, by the time you're 32, 33, you could have 200, 300, whatever it is. Maybe it won't be as much, but let's say even at 100,000. Can you imagine $100,000 in investments in 5 years? You'd be so jazzed. You'd be so confident. It would change the way you walk around. It would change the way you feel about yourself. You probably feel a lot more confident, and you start thinking about, like, wait, maybe when I retire one day, I'll actually have money in the bank and I can actually retire and not have to live Social Security, which will not exist, by the way, in 30 years from now. So anyhow, I just want to encourage people by that.
I think so. You guys are mentioning something. Oh, I could retire at 40, right? That's not my goal. Actually, that's not my goal. So my goal, I would love to work if I'm even able. I want to work even if I'm 80. I don't care. Because here's the thing. My thing is, like, I work a lot, but also I'm passionate about what I do. It makes me happy, right? So that's why, like, I don't really look at it as like a work per se, even though it stresses me sometimes. I am very stressed, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't make me hate it. Stress is just part of life, right? Yeah. So no, that's okay. My goal to being financially free is I think just to be able to give back. Because again, I don't come from a place where I had a lot of opportunities. Like, being able to be in the USA has opened my eyes in so many ways. I wish I could do the same for other people who are like me, who are willing to do the work. Then they just get on the opportunity and then they check on it, right? Yeah. So that would be my ultimate reason to be a wealthy, I would say. For many people, it's different things. For some people, it's to be able to retire early. It's for some people to, just like live a lavish life. It can be anything. You also should like think about, what does a wealthy life really mean to you? Then you understand, like, let's say you get in a car and you're trying to go somewhere. You always put in the location first. You don't just start driving off. I'm like, okay, I'll go somewhere. That's never happens, right? Yeah. So of course, if you really want to become, financially free and, well off, you should think about, how much do you really want to hit? And from there, then you can really dissect how much you need to do on a weekly basis. I don't like the monthly thing. You could. I just think it makes sense to do it on a weekly basis. When it's like every 2-3 days, it's too much. Like, you don't have that much time. Yeah. But on a weekly basis, always check your credit card statements. Is everything up to date? Have you been incorrectly charged for subscriptions you're no longer using? Are you spending over than you should be? Or like, how much money coming into your business account? Like, what are the ways you can like increase the sale? Or like, always be on check. Always check. But if you have a more clear idea where you want to hit, then you can really understand how much you should be putting every week. Then from there, you can build up a system. There is a website I really want to share with your listeners. Let me just Google it up. It's called investor.gov. Okay, so this is a compound interest calculator website. So let me do a very simple math for you guys. Okay. Yeah. I want to start from small to like a little bit more. Okay, so we can get some idea. So let's say your listeners are not investing at all any money today. Starting today is the day one. Okay, so let's put the initial investment as $0, okay? And then monthly contribution, let's say you don't make a lot of money as a lash artist. Let's say you start with $200 every month, okay? And then you invested, okay, let's say, 5 years, okay? 5 years. And then usually interest rate is minimum at a 7%. And if it's good, like my portfolio, some years have made over 30%.
Wow.
That's great.
That's amazing.
Some of my stocks, I'm not lying, some of my stocks have, I don't know how many 100% made. So it's so good to work with a investment advisor, because they know the game, because they're going to get a percentage. They want to make the most money for you. Yeah. So that's why I I love having an investor. And it's also nice to just talk to somebody. Like I literally, when I don't have clients, I go to my banker. He's like 3-4 minutes away from my salon. And I just go there and then say, hi, what's up? How's life? And then we catch up. Literally. And then he gives me advices on other things in my life, like even when it comes to like buying a real estate, because he's also a financially well-off person himself. So he gives me tips and tricks. He gives me like a good contact information for accountants or anything I'm looking for, right? So it's always good to have people who have knowledge, because that escalates and changes your life much faster than anything, right? Yeah. So anyways, so let's say interest rate, let's calculate it at the minimum at 7%, okay? And then let's say it varies to, okay, like 11%, not that much, but most likely it will be like that. And then compound frequency is annually, okay? So let's click calculate. So in 5 years, if you just invest $200 every month. No, I'm kidding. Actually, let me do it as $800. So that's $200
a week.
That's so $200 a week. Okay, so $800 a month, 5 years, 7 to 11% interest rate per year, annually increasing. That money will be around $70K. Just in 5 years.
That's insane. Just
in 5 years. And all you had to do was $200 a week. That's $800 a month, 5 years. And once you start seeing your money going up, trust me, you're going to increase the $200. Yeah. Like if you're doing $200, like let's say this year, next year, you're probably going to do, okay, this year I'm going to do maybe $400 or $500 a week. Yeah. So now let's try to think about it as you invest $500 a week. So that makes your initial investing at $2,000, right? Yeah. So $2,000 for 5 years, same 7 to 11%. Compounded, calculated, that will be at $168,000.
Wow!
There you go. Then that's how you did it, right? That's
it's
how
like
you
gamify
how I did it.
Yeah.
Now, when I say it like this, you guys don't feel jealous or like don't think I'm any smart, okay? Please.
Yeah.
Because it's so possible.
It is possible.
Hardest thing is going to be making your first 100K. That is the hardest. I think it took me 2 years over to make 100K. Yeah. And then the last 100K, I made it like each year last year. And then this year I made 100K. And then on top of it, last year, I am opening a new business. So I have been investing a lot of money into that business as well. So if I wasn't opening that business, my portfolio would be even higher, guys. Okay. This is absolutely something doable. If I did it, I promise you, you can do it as well. So please take this investor.gov website name, or you can just say like a compound interest, compound stock markets like thing, and then it will show up. Yeah. So you can calculate how much you can invest and then what will be your thing. So let's say for my case, okay, let's say if I invest okay, 5K a month, okay? Again, initial investment, let's go 0. Yeah. And then let's say I do 5,000. Okay, because I'm in my 20s. Let's say I can do it for another 40 years. Okay, yeah. 7 to 11% again. That will be around $244 million. That's $244 million.
And that's what I mean. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, and he talks about how most millionaires today are not people who make money overnight through through like a rock star or sell a script or become a movie star or athlete, whatever. Those are like overnight millionaires. Majority of millionaires in America look like you. They put their money in the bank and they saved it over a period of 30 years. They put $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and in 30 years, all of a sudden they have $2-3 million in the bank because they've just been disciplined. And this is the thing: you have to be disciplined, and you have to save, and over a period of 30 years, that you become a millionaire. And I think this whole concept of I think a lot of us see Instagram. We want instant gratification. We want instant results, and that's not how you're going to become a millionaire. I mean, there are some few exceptions in the world that do it, but most people become millionaires by investing and saving. And by the way, if your business, here's another thing I wanted to dispel. I see this all the time. Someone says, my business makes $1 million a year. I'm a millionaire. No, you're not. Millionaire is not, a business making $1 million doesn't make you a millionaire. It's what you have in your assets. What do you have actually in savings and investments? That's what makes you a millionaire, not the fact that your business drives $1 million in revenue a year. We've done that, and we're not millionaires, and because we made a lot of bad choices. So that's why I love meeting people like you, because I'm so excited that I see someone doing it right. They're young, and you're going to make good choices so that when you are older, you can choose to work, you can choose not to work, whatever you want to do. You have options when you're 40s, 50s, 60s, where people like us, we're playing catch up. We're in the catch-up mode, and we don't have those same options. Good news, I love working, so I don't feel bad about it. But at the same time, I look at you, and I'm so
you're doing
impressed.
It right.
You're
so doing impressed. It right. We're
encouraging. And I hope other people.
I hope more people do it. That's all I hope, because we don't have to be so poor anymore.
Yeah.
We just have to build a system that serves us back, and then we will be all well off. You know what I mean? So I really wanted to share this with you, not to brag, guys. Yeah. Again, just start today, get help. Even if you don't have much money, go to your local bank, ask for help. They don't charge you anything. That's how I started. I walked into a Chase bank, asked them, hey, I got 20K. What can I do with this? Help me out. And then he told me, let's invest it. Let's start it. Okay. So they will help you to be better off, because you making more money for the bank makes them the money and it helps you back. So everyone is well off. And that's what business is called, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is being happy is a happy business, right? Yeah. Another thing I really want to add before I let you go is also health. And I think I'm really actually proud of our younger generation for not being so money driven per se, but they also talk about mental health and also physical body health, right? I think a lot of people, when they're making money, they really disregard their mental and physical health. And sometimes it costs them their life. And we have seen it, right? Like with really successful people, they get sick, they die young, right? Yeah. We never want to be that. Life has so many great avenues to offer and give us back. So even if it means to taking less clients, make sure you're doing some exercise, even if it's 20 minutes a day. Take that time to stretch your body, because we're always hunching down like this, right? It's gonna give us a lot of pain. We don't want to have so much money but feeling unwell when we are older. That will not make us happy. That will not serve us. That will not serve our kids. Nobody will be happy. And even if, let's say you have so much money, if you're sick, it's gonna cost you so much in medical cost. Everything you have worked so hard for is just gonna go towards that. And how is that a rich life? Yeah. That is not it. Yeah. So I would say every day what you're doing for yourself is gonna serve you in the future. So don't just be so greedy just to make money.
Yeah.
Okay, have a balance. I try to work out at least 4 times a week, even if I have a really busy week and I'm just this is a time for me. I need to bring my ass to the gym or yoga. Yeah. I gotta do it. So have that discipline, the little things you're doing every day for yourself. That's how you make yourself happy, at least for me. So yeah, I would say don't sacrifice your health as well and mental health.
Absolutely.
I completely agree.
Tess is a big fan of that. In fact, she's changing our life.
Go, girl.
Because, we're doing a lot of things different just because what you said about sleep, too, getting enough sleep. A lot of people deprive themselves. And I used to brag. I only need 5-6 hours of sleep. And now Tess is that's not good. To brag. No, and you pay the piper, so Tuss is now I'm sleeping 8 hours a night, which is crazy. I never thought I would be doing that, but that's what I do. And except for around LashCon, there's a month where I don't sleep a lot. But that said, I'm going to change this year. This year, LashCon, I'm going to sleep the whole time.
You have to move your body at least 30 minutes a day, and then do not overbook yourself. It happens a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like I used to do it too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna like shame you because I've done it too.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is take lunchtime off of your calendar so you eat, because why are you working hard if you can't even have a proper lunch? What's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, okay?
Yeah.
So lunch, dinner, okay?
Yeah.
Like a decent like someone to marry, okay? Yeah. You know, and then like figure out, you know, how much you should be investing for your future.
Yeah.
And, you know, for like if you're having kids and all of that, like how much you should be taking out for your kids. And also for your kids, there's a really good thing like 501c, like college investing account as well. You can do it as soon as they're born, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, so I don't know a lot of in and out, but I'm just telling what my advisor tells me, right? So you can also invest for your kids until they're 18 years old without any tax obligations. So that is something also you can set up for your kid. Imagine doing that every month, let's say $100 per child until they're 18. By the time they graduate, they wouldn't have to think about a lot of expenses, right? Like you don't have to stress about it as well. So like planning just takes up so much stress out of your life. And like also like if you have a good financials, like your boundaries will be set stronger. You know, you won't be like going out so many times late. You won't be meeting with the wrong people. You won't be using a lot of drugs or alcohol. You won't be so addicted, right? Like it just keeps you away from so many damages that you can do to your body. So like being good at your finances is just it's just a blessing, I would say.
I love it because it sounds like if you get that priority right, it helps to dictate your other parts of your life, right? So not everything
exactly
is
foundation.
You're like, well, if my goal is to invest and save and make certain goals financially, then you'll make different decisions on what you're going to do and how you're going to live your life and who you're going to hang out with and all that. So I think that's wonderful. And this has just been so cool. We can keep going on, but I know Tuss has to go here. And Ari, thank you. You are a wealth of information.
You are such a gem.
You really are an inspiration for even us. We're as older people who've made some bad choices, I will say, in our life. And looking back and seeing, you know, I'm like, wow, this is how you go. But for some people, they're just probably like, okay, what should I do first? I think one of the things you said right now to get started is you can go to your bank. If you don't want to worry about hiring an investor, a financial planner,
advisor.
Start with your bank. Just start investing, start saving. And then once you get to a certain level, you're going to need to get a financial planner. We won't go to that now, but that will be something you'll need to do. And don't worry, like she said, their goal is to make you money. So they're not going to like screw you and kill your finances and take money out of you, because then they make nothing. They got to make money off profits, not off losses. So I can.
They're motivated
they're
to make
motivated.
you money.
So now there are good ones and bad ones, and we won't get into that here today. But that said, I think hopefully people right now just get started by doing something. Even if you open your own Fidelity account, you can go on some of these accounts. You can just open it up and start putting money in index funds. Something very simple, doesn't take a lot of thought, and you can at least start practicing. And then hopefully gain a little confidence from that. And then over time, you can go and find a financial planner who'll take you on. So anyhow, that all said, thank you. Please, everyone listening, just start today. Just commit today.
Let me give you one more YouTuber's name that I absolutely love, okay? His name is Humphrey Young. I think I have sent you the link by message, Paul.
Yeah, I think so.
Could you please attach his YouTube channel on this podcast?
Yeah.
I want people who listen to this to listen to him, because he will go deep dive in everything I have talked today into way more like
great. And how
precise.
to actually do it. Can you send me? Can you text me again, just so I don't have to go back and forth?
Humphrey Young.
Cool.
Humphrey
Yeah,
Young.
he's
Awesome.
an Asian guy.
Awesome.
So and then I just hope everyone who listened this podcast gets some value and start. And that's it.
And by the way, one of the cool things about Ari, she's starting her own podcast called the Burte Beauty Podcast. So where will that be? When do you have a timeline on when that will be out?
Very good question. Okay. I have actually 3 episodes already recorded. Actually, 2 of you are on it.
Yeah.
I just need to post it for real.
Okay.
But will try my best to post it in a week.
Okay. If not, don't worry.
Don't worry. No pressure.
I mean, this episode won't come out till February, probably, most likely.
Yeah. For people who are listening, like, I really want to deep dive into everything I talked into my podcast. So I have one video posted on my YouTube. I can also give you the link. Please go there and subscribe. Please go there and subscribe. Then you will find me there, all the stuff that I talk anyway. And I do want to share with you guys, I'm just so busy with my businesses right now because the second one is launching like anytime soon. So like I have just so much going on.
No worries. I just want people to be able to check it out because I think obviously you're adorable and you're smart and you're wise.
You're smart, Cookie.
And I love people to follow you and so they can hopefully be inspired by you because I think a lot of people in our industry have been barking up the wrong tree, trying to make money through 20 different full-time jobs, thinking, oh, I just need another business, another this, another that. And I'm like, no. I always tell people, focus on one business, make a ton of money in that one business, and then start investing it. And then once you've
be consistent.
And then once you have that business set up, and you can run itself, and you hire people to run that business, and then you can start another business. But I see too many people barely get one business going, and then they start another business, and before you know it, they're doing 18 businesses trying to make money, and they're actually not making money because they're running around doing so much nonsense, and it's just really painful to watch. And I just, you were such an inspiration to me. So anyhow, thank you for being on. People, please go check out her podcast when it's out, but if not, go follow her. Where they can find you on Instagram?
So Instagram, my personal is Arin_NYC.
Okay.
ARIN_NYC. Or my business page is Burte Academy, Burte.academy. And maybe we can just put it on the link because my name sometimes is not so American. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you don't have to apologize.
No, I got a weird name too.
I didn't pick my name.
Strange name too. So, and Paul is really weird, so we gotta deal with that. All right, anyhow, thank you so much. It's been a blessing and a pleasure to have you on.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
All right, thank you so much.
Have a good day. Bye.